Hello everyone, and welcome to Mr. This is North America, and the literal icing on the top here is Canada. Now, let's check it out, eh? Canada is the second biggest country in the world by total area. A vast expanse of forest, prairie, mountain, tundra, and subarctic iciness, bridging 3 oceans in a bracing chorus of 50,000 islands and 30,000 lakes. And yes, it's all very scenic, so let's just stop before the other countries get jealous. This gargantuan resource-rich mass of Earth was settled first by Paleolithic tribes crossing over from Siberia, hunting musk oxen, mastodons, and mammoths. These indigenous peoples, for millennia, survived as hunter-gatherers in places like this, killing their prey with stone tools in the bitter cold. Over time, many tribes established settlements and moved on to agriculture and pastoralism, subscribing to an animist religion overseen by shamans and expressed in ceremony. War between clans occurred, and slavery was practiced, most commonly in the Pacific West. The first Europeans arrived around the year 1000, Vikings, who settled for some time in Newfoundland and then went away. In 1497, John Cabot explored the Labrador coast in a fruitless search for a northwest passage to Asia. Since the waters were so abundant with fish, Europeans began angling en masse here, but for decades none of them were really interested in settling. In the 1530s, French explorer Jacques Cartier navigated the St. Lawrence River and gave the land its name, Canada, after the Iroquois word for village. But domestic troubles stymied any efforts to French colonization, and it wasn't until 1605 that Samuel de Champlain established the first settlement at Port Royal, Nova Scotia. He later founded Quebec. Soon, a lucrative trade in pelts, animal furs, was set up with rival native tribes siding with rival European states for land, money, power, the usual. The King of France's advisor, Cardinal Richelieu, pushed for further French colonization, and settlers poured in along with Jesuit missionaries. Meanwhile, Mr. Henry Hudson had claimed this region for England, and no, Britain was not content with just that, and got a whole lot more after beating the French in the 7 Years' War. While Britain attained mastery over Canada, its American colonies revolted and gained independence. But the revolution did not ignite the North, so Canada remained a possession of the Crown, and indeed Canadians proved loyal British subjects, fighting America in the War of 1812, which ended in stalemate, but left Canada intact and unconquered. After introducing a number of crucial political reforms in the mid-19th century, Canada could focus on expansion. Railways were built, industries ripened, cities grew, and Canada extended its territory, not without resistance. Confederation in 1867 saw John Alexander Macdonald become first Prime Minister. The Wild West was tamed, complications arose and still persist from the passage of the Indian Act, and the miseries heaped upon the First Nations with the residential school system debacle. The Klondike Gold Rush arose, and 600,000 Canadians fought for Britain in the First World War, where they distinguished themselves. The blossoming economy suffered terribly from the Great Depression, which no amount of tariffs could ameliorate. But stability and better times returned under Mackenzie King. Relations with the US improved, and Canada rallied to the Allied cause in World War II, not only sending Britain troops, but also steady shipments of badly needed food and supplies. Aside from its massive contributions, the war left Canada highly industrialized and ready for the future. Canada's prosperity grew further in the following decades. Immigration was encouraged, with many arrivals from southern Europe, altering the traditional English-French norm of the nation. The popular Pierre Trudeau introduced a policy of official multiculturalism in 1971, opening Canada up to millions of immigrants from all over the world. Canada gained full sovereignty from the UK in 1982. Meanwhile, separatists in Quebec were calling for independence. Their referendum would be narrowly defeated in 1995. Canada has been an active participant in many UN peacekeeping missions and refused to join the US invasion of Iraq. Canada today is among the richest countries in the world and ranks among the highest in quality of life, and millions of tourists travel to it every year, visiting cities like Vancouver, Winnipeg, Montreal, and Toronto, and visually supping on the impossibly attractive natural wonders found all over the country. I personally wouldn't mind stopping by that serene slice of heaven, Prince Edward Island, immortalized by Lucy Maud Montgomery in her Stories of Anne of Green Gables. So that's the super quick history of Canada thus far. A blessed land that has given us a lot in science, literature, sport, cinema, music, and most importantly provides our pancakes with pristine maple syrup. Not bad for a country whose national symbols are a leaf and a beaver. But what awaits Canada as it strides on into tomorrow? Comment below, but for now, bye-bye!